Somebody for something somewhere. And there's one thing for sure. You're fucking ain't me. And it ain't you. Only something we get. 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 That wasn't just what happened. We get a wolf or a spider or a snake. How can you get a snake from the same species as a dog? It's easy. And for all species, punch it. Punch it. Punch it. Okay. You got a choice. You got a choice. You got a choice. You got a choice. Punching the flags or giving the bollocks. Jesus. What did you talk about? Bollocks. Yes. Yes, bollocks. Now bills of exchange. That's how much I'm interested in fucking cricket. Exactly. What the thinking is good. What the thinking is good. What the thinking is. Which one of us are you going to propose to this evening? A logic man who don't have sex. Yeah.
Good evening and welcome to Raconteurs After Dark. On this Friday evening, it's the 5th of July 2019, and it's quite a day in history. I mean, I've had a few drinks tonight. I've been thinking about some things, and I thought that we should come on air and have a bit of a chat, because I know that that Aid's got some stuff that he wants to perhaps get off his chest as well. So good evening, Aid. How are you, mate?
I'm all right, mate, and I'm completely sober.
No, you're fucking joking, aren't you?
No.
Oh, fuck me, I've had a fucking half a bottle of vodka and I've got a joint on go.
No, I've not. Because the thing, if I have any weeds, I'm trying to get comfy. Sorry, I'm kicking my printer. That's better. If I have any weeds, I get the incredible munchies, and I'm trying really hard to. I'm on an anti-fat bastard regime at the minute, so if anybody would like a cherry tomato.
Well, you know, it has the opposite effect on me. I don't ever get munchies. I always just like, you know, it don't make me munchy-ish. It just makes me, stoned, really. And I don't even... I think once me and Heath went to Amsterdam for a weekend, and we were in smoking shops, and I don't think the entire weekend I'd smoked anything. I ate anything. I did smoke stuff, obviously. I didn't eat out, so
no, it does. It gives me the munchies.
Well, you're in that 1%. The 1%. You're one of the 1%ers.
Mm. Yeah. Anyway, listen. What do you want to have a bitch about?
Well, just tons of things, really. I'm a bit peeved on everything, really. What about you? I'd like to look at my glasses. Can you see?
They're very Dame Edna, aren't they? Yeah.
But you see, the thing is, even though
they're
broke,
busted, yeah.
Even though they're broke, and my missus has bought me 2 more pairs. There you go. They're on the thing. See?
Yeah.
She's bought me 2 more pairs, and I've not used them pairs yet because I just can't get away from these glasses. I just love them. I think they're pretty awesome. I just don't know what it is. I'm quite attached to them. I think it might be
I think it might be drugs.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah,
Uh,
it might be. Yeah.
oh, and listen, people don't want to listen to us about our ailments, but I am going to the eye clinic on Tuesday to see about having my eyes lasered or whatever. So we'll see. See what
All
they
right.
say. See what they say. See what they say.
I mean, what laser eye surgery so you don't need glasses anymore?
Yeah.
But just as an aside, I mean, how much would that procedure cost to have done?
Apparently, well, I'll find out on Tuesday, but I think the one that I'll need, because of what my prescription is the one where they like take your lens out and put your new lens in, which is about $3,500 each eye.
Okay, so how much would that be for both eyes?
Well, when I went to school, fuck off, you knobhead.
Well, this is what it's about. After Dark's about. We've been knobheads. Yeah. So like $7,000 on your eyes, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that that's value for money, right? Do you think that that's value for money? I mean, you're over 50, aren't you? Now.
Yeah.
And how much longer you've got left really is just, it's a fucking flipper of a coin. It's a lottery, isn't it? You don't know how long you got left. I mean, I've probably fucking lived longer than you, and you know, all this shit that's fucking going on with me. So would you think that $7,000 so that you can clearly see all the shit that's going on around you not have, like, you know, any reason to do you think that's worthwhile? It's
Well, the way I
worthwhile.
look at it is, if I don't spend it, my kids will. But the problem is, I can't get, because the only way I can afford to do it would be out of my pension money, which I can't get to till about another 18, 20 months. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I'm just going on a fact finding mission. See what happens.
So you're going to get your eyes done? No, nice one. Listen, it's fine. I was just trying to play devil's advocate.
I know. No, listen. On a Wednesday night. Now it's summer, and now I'm not on God knows what tablets or whatever. I'm back out on my bike, and as anybody who rides a bike knows, Wednesday night is basically bike night. I don't know why, but Wednesday night seems to be the night during the week when, certainly in the Midlands, there's bike nights at pubs and all over the place. I mean, hundreds of them. So anyway, Wednesday night, I'm stood in a car park with a cup of tea, because that's what bikers drink on a Wednesday night, a cup of tea. And as bikers do, you just stand and chat to each other. You've never met people at all, and you just end up talking to them. And this kid was he was talking to his mate about how I had this bailiff round to his house today. So I just looked at him and I shook my head. He said, "What's up?" I said, "You want had a bailiff round to your house?" He said, "Why not?" I said, "Well, they don't really exist anymore. You've had one that probably claimed to be but wasn't. But what happened? Turns out it was Rosendale's for his council tax that wasn't even in his name because they'd spelt it incorrectly." So anyway, by the time I'd spent 10 minutes with him, I think it was just blowing his mind. So I went, "Listen, I'll just email it all to you. It's not a problem." So Wednesday night, I got in and just emailed it all over to him. You know, the removal of the implied right of access to his house form, already with his address on, the lot, everything. And I just said, "Look, any more than this, you need to learn how to do it so you can pass it on." And I think that's the main thing. Whatever we do for anybody, rather than do it for them, we've got to do it with them. Point them in the right direction to the right stuff, explain to them where it came from and all the rest of it, so that we're, if you like, showing them how to teach themselves so that they can then show somebody else. Because if you just do something for somebody, there's only one person that knows what you're doing, and that's you. Whereas if you help somebody do it for themselves, and it sounds like this kid's got rid of this guy, so yeah. Last time I spoke to one of the Rosendale arseholes, he asked me who I was, and I just explained to him that I was his worst fucking nightmare.
Well, and in fact, you are, aren't you? Really? I mean, you anybody's worst nightmare. I mean, particularly mine. I mean, I'd, that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's all about helping people and helping people. But the best thing to do is to help them help themselves.
Yeah, definitely.
Rather than to, and I know Webby used to talk about this a lot as well. He used to talk about how he won't do things for people. He'll tell people what to do and how to do it, and he'll give people advice, but he won't do it for them because, and that's the way the way forward, because we can't do anything without teaching people how to do it themselves, because they're going to come across it again, and then what they're going to do.
Yeah.
I the first time I did anything along these lines, the feeling of empowerment that you get from telling a bailiff to go and fuck himself
He's fantastic.
and him going and fucking himself, and even when they bring coppers round, and then you tell coppers, coppers can't do it, coppers don't do it. It's empowering, and it's something that people, everybody should
you should just try it. Anything
should try to achieve.
What I just want to, for anybody who don't know, and listen, if I'm trying to teach you to suck eggs, just switch it off and go listen to David Icke instead. Sorry, I've just been booking some flights, so all the emails are flooding in.
Okay. Where to, by the way? As if you don't know.
Go on, guess. Can you guess?
Wow.
Oh,
Thailand.
there you go. Look at that, eh? How did you guess? I'm impressed.
When you're over there, do you always have to wear a tie then?
Funnily enough, no, because it's spelt different.
Okay.
I think if it was
okay.
In order for anything to, you just got to strip it back to the beginning, and the beginning really is this: in law, there has to be an enforceable debt. And in order for there to be an enforceable debt, there's all sorts of criteria that's got to be met. But the first thing is, whatever name's on it has got to be the name that you recognize as yours. Not misspelt, but the name that you recognize as yours. Secondly, whoever's demanding this monies from you has got to have a contract directly with you. So, I don't know. In this case, it was council tax. So it's the council. So if a guy from the council knocks on the door and says, this is the form that you filled in on the electoral register thingy, so you've agreed to pay your council tax, you haven't paid it, here's your bill, then, you could go talk to that guy. But when some dickhead from Rosendale's turns up, who lies to you, tells you he's a bailiff, the document that's been printed off is, well, probably his own computer, because they all work from home, has got warrant written on it, and it's not a court warrant at all. Because we all know that the council just kind of rubber stamp these things like they're going out of fashion. You've actually seen that happening, haven't you, Jason, at the court? They just do. And so there's no contract with this Rosendale dickhead. He's a debt collector. He has been instructed by the other party. So it's the lawnmower scenario. I lend Jason my lawnmower. My mate Dave goes around to collect the lawnmower. Jason tells Dave to fuck off. And it's no different to having a contract with somebody and Rosendale's coming around and saying they're going to collect it on their behalf. The easy answer is fuck off. Because he hasn't got an enforceable contract, so there's no enforceable debt. He's a third-party interloper. Somebody sticking his nose in where it don't fucking belong. And once you get that, it's dead easy because they turn up at your house, and hopefully you've already got a removal of implied right of access sticker on your window. You got rid of all that shit. So, you know, if necessary, give the guy a copy of it, ask him what he wants and who he is and what he wants, and then point out to him, mate, you're a third-party interloper. It's fuck all to do with you. Piss off. And tell him he's trespassing. And when he says no, he ain't, tell him it's aggravated trespass. And when he says no, it isn't, tell him it's criminal trespass. He's got 10 seconds to get his feet the other side of the wall. And if you don't, you're going to arrest him. And you will use all force necessary. He'll go sit in his van, he'll ring the police, and they'll turn up because he felt threatened. Well, there's an easy way around that. Fuck off. Then I won't threaten you anymore. And then all you say to the police is, are you here to keep the peace? Or if you can remember all this shit, let's talk about your oath. You know, the police stand there and they go, I swear by Almighty Queen, country and all that bollocks, to treat everybody the same under the law is the bit that they say. So they're only there to keep the peace. They are not there to help this Rosendale not bailiff dickhead. And you know, you can just say to them that, you know, you accept their oath and you hold them to it. Are they there to execute unlawful documents, or are they there to keep the peace? They will say, we are here to keep the peace. Good. If you're here to keep the peace, he's causing me to feel harassed, alarmed, and distressed, and I'm peaceful. I've told him to leave, and he won't. So tell him to fuck off. And it really, really, really is as simple as that. You do not have to even talk to these dickheads. Just give them the best reason to fuck off.
Well, I'd suggest that not talking to them is probably the best way. You don't need it when coppers come, because coppers will just fucking, you know what they do? They'll say, yeah, we're here to keep peace, but you're breaching the peace by not allowing them to execute their lawful warrant and all this fucking sort
But
of...
it's not a lawful warrant, is it? It's just...
Of course it's not a lawful warrant, but that's what they'll say.
Mm.
You know, this is what I'm saying. They will do that. The best way is just to not engage with them at all. Nobody at all. I mean, I don't engage with. Look, it's come to a weird time where, as when somebody knocks at your door, and then you look out of the window to see who it is, and you're relieved that it's Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
Honestly, it is. I had him yesterday. Knocked on my door. I went to the door in my wheelchair. It was in morning, and I had a good chat with him. And I thought, you know, I'm not gonna like, because they've got this fucking this stigma attached to them. And you know, I had a debate with him, and I talked to him about stuff, and I was relieved about that. But you know, that were a nice thing to happen. But when you got people knocking on your door, and to be fair, I've not had anybody knocking on my door for money for fucking God knows how long.
Because it was probably me. I was probably the last one.
Yeah, you probably were. Yeah, you probably were. You probably were the last one that came to my door. In fact, you weren't. On my 40th birthday, I remember this fucking distinctly. I remember this because it was my 40th birthday. So we're talking 9 years ago. And some bailiff comes to the fucking door, and he's wanting to enforce some crap or other. And I fucking chased him off. I chased him off. I took my shirt off. This is an Argentina shirt.
Yeah.
The best, the supreme nation in the world, Argentina. This is an Argentina shirt. I had an Argentina shirt on then, and I fucking went running after him, and I took my fucking shirt off, and I loved it. And I said, "Come on, you want my fucking money? Yeah, have my fucking shirt." But that was on my 40th birthday, and I think that was probably about last time I had any dealings with any bailiffs and stuff. I mean, obviously I had that time when they fucking come and kick my door in to change me meter on my house. But you can see that on YouTube, by the way, Alter Edge Media. Go on and have a look at that. Oh, fucking hell. Fucking YouTube's been really, really wank at the moment about... I watched... for example, I watched Richard D. Hall came up. He's got a new. He's got a new program out. He comes out with programs every month or so, or whatever. He comes out with a series of programs, and I got the first one. And normally, part one would then on the suggested links would be part two, but it weren't. I had to go to his site. I had to go to click on his channel to get part two, which is really shitty. And I mean, this is what they're doing to us. They're fucking shutting us down. Anybody that's got any different
out to say,
yeah, anything. Yeah, anything. But we're pathetic. We really are fucking pathetic. In this country, we are pathetic.
yeah.
Absolutely fucking pathetic. And do you know what? Anything that's got any seriousness to it, anything that it's turned into some sort of satire, and it's fucking fucked. I was thinking. Remember. I can't remember where it were, but I think it was RNLI or somebody. But they got this. They got this competition. And they wanted to rename this boat, name a new boat. They've got
That's
a new
right.
boat coming out.
Yeah.
And the winner was Boatface, right? Which I think there's been a couple since that have been on similar lines. So I'm thinking, well, since when we get out of Europe, when we we're released from Europe through Brexit, if it ever fucking happens, what we should do is we should have a clean break and give ourselves a new name, so that we could have a competition to name the country. So what's the new name of the country going to be? Because I really, really, really want to have a passport that says I'm Jason Holmes and I'm from Country McCuntface.
Yeah, I think you just call it fucked. Where are you from? Fucked.
Country McCuntface.
Country
It works.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Boaty McBoatface, Country McCuntface.
Yeah.
That's I come from there. Someone's going to do it, so why don't we get him first? What marketing and everything. Country McCuntface. Someone's going to do it, aren't they? One of these African countries is going to go, oh, I'll tell you what, we'll call ourselves Country McCuntface. Then we'll get loads of tourists coming over, fucking loads of English idiots with fucking more money than they've got, more money than sense. Because, over here in this country that we live in, it costs fucking 5p a day to live, and so we're only paying, it's just fucking, just the way that the world going, it's fucking completely, utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, and did you notice that they didn't let us call it Boaty McBoatface? They named it after Attenborough instead. So let's have a competition to name something, and then when we don't like it, we'll forget it happened. That doesn't sound... Does that sound at all... Oh, that sounds familiar. I wonder where we've heard that before. So yeah. Anyway, who have we got in the chat room?
We've got a good few people.
Super Leeds has said Twatland.
Ron Malcolm on the toes. Have they looked at gout? I've had it. No, it's not definitely not gout. It's been a bit better today, to be fair. So thank you. Super Leeds has put, can you tell everyone the Morrison story? It's piss funny. Now, I'm a bit struggling with that. I do remember I wanted the Morrisons and I needed a shit. And I think I shit my pants and I had to fucking waddle. When you're clenching to stop up shit fucking coming out of you onto your pants and that. I think that's what. Look, find it out, Leeds, and I'll if you find it out for me where I told you about it, I'll play it. But there's been so many fucking stories that I've told about shit that's happened to me because I'm such a cunt. I really can't remember that. I can't remember it. But I'll tell you what. I tell you what, I can't remember. You know what it is tomorrow, don't you?
Go on.
Oh, it's 1 year since I had my leg off.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah, 6th of July. It was Friday.
Shit, I just want to give you an example. Sorry, I'm not discounting that at all, Jason, because that's clearly
okay.
something we need to talk. I've just read the header for this email, and I've just realised, right? I've just booked a flight. Hang on a minute, where is it? I think I've got to print that one off yet. Oh no, here we go. From Phuket to Pattaya, which is an hour and 15-minute flight. I've then paid extra for my seat so that I get the one I want, so I can stick my left leg into aisle because I'm a spaz. I've then added a 25-kilo bag. And the only reason I've done that is because that's the most my bag's going to weigh. I don't think it'll weigh anywhere near that, but you've got to pay extra for your bag, right? So to put my ass on a seat was 600 baht. With everything all included, taxes and everything, 1,359 baht. So let's say it's 1,360 baht. And this is like flying from, say, I don't know, London to Edinburgh. Or actually, it's probably a bit further than that. And the total price in English, £34.87. You try book a train.
Okay.
You try book a train, a plane, or anything, even if one of these fucking buses that takes all week for 35 quid to get from London to, say, Edinburgh or London to Glasgow or whatever. We just get ripped off.
Of course we get ripped off. Get ripped off with everything, man. Fucking hell. I'm sorry, I'm in a right load of fucking pain. My fucking foot. It's been all right today, and it's fucking playing up like a twat. It'll be all right when I go to bed, and it'll be all right in the morning.
Is it
just playing up like a twat?
Is it because your leg's elevated at night?
No, because my leg's not elevated.
Because you're tilting, yeah, like me, yeah, cush, yeah. Yeah.
I think it's simply because I'm not thinking about it. I think that's what it is. I really think that's what it is. Listen, Super Leeds has said he wanted to ask about the tell the story of the Morrison's incident, and it's just reminded me of what it is. I do remember it now. But I mean, Morrison's at Catcliffe. You know Morrison's at Catcliffe, don't you? Yeah. Well, I were in there, and I was right at the opposite end of the store from where the toilets were. And anyway, I farted, and as I farted, I crapped myself. So I had to walk over. I were hobbling round between going along past all tills and that to other end. And then I asked the woman on the service desk, I said, "Where's the toilets? Because I've crapped myself." And she pointed where they were. So I went to the toilets. Anyway, I goes into the toilets and I cleaned myself up, and my underpants are just fucking disgusting. They're fucking just full of shit, man. Just fucking shit everywhere. I've cleaned myself up. I'm in a cubicle. So I think, what am I going to do with these underpants? I can't. What can I do? I can't fucking like put them in my pocket because I'm going to stink. Because I've got me. That's what I did. That's why I went to customer services, because I left my trolley. I said, I'm just going to leave the trolley here. I'm just going to go and clean myself up because I've shit myself. Then I went into the toilets. And I goes into the toilets and I fucking cleaned myself up. And I thought, what am I going to do with it? I can't. I'm still shopping, man. What am I going to do? So I can't. What am I going to do with these pants? So I hung them up on the hook on the back of the door. I hung them up, right? And when I opened door and come out, there were a fucking bloke who went straight in after me. He were waiting. So he's going to shut the door. My fucking kegs are there with shit all over them. I didn't like it. It was fucking. Oh man. Yeah. So there you go, Lees. I do remember that now.
Yeah, what
I
about
do
the one
remember.
where Jason puked in my
Quite a long
breakfast? That
time
was
ago.
good.
Well, yeah, I've vomited over your breakfast. I've done all sorts of stuff,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah, you vomit. Yeah. Anyway, we've got a message from what's his name? Have you seen it from Uni Black Sister?
No, what's he say?
Can he come on because he wants to talk about World War II?
Oh, Bueller.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, we can get him on if he wants to talk about World War Two.
that's what he says here. Yeah, Buell. Yeah, it says there. Can Jason? Can I join? I wanted to talk about World War II stuff, or WW2 might be the Worldwide Two, or Web 2, or whatever. But I'm assuming it's World War II.
The Webster Report too.
Could be.
Yeah.
Actually, Ron Malcolm's made a very good point. Never trust a fart. At your age, Jason, that's very true.
Oh
You
my
should
God, I never trust a fart. You know, I fucking shit bed the other day. I farted. I thought it were a fart, and it weren't. It were all water. And I've been on antibiotics, you know, and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
just and I just thought, oh my fucking God, fucking shit bed. I'm gonna have to fucking clean that in a fucking week or two.
Yeah, last time I shit bed like that, I were on holiday in Egypt.
Right, let me get to Uni. What's his face?
Are you adding him to the call?
I will do, yeah.
Hmm.
Fucking Uni Black Sister. What's he called now? What's his fucking name? He's got
Bueller.
huh? No, he's got a really weird email address.
Just put it in the chat room.
Yeah, put it in chat room, dickhead, and we'll.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not a dickhead.
Not you, him. I think we're going to have to start a GoFundMe page to get him fucking a blowjob.
Do you think?
Well, he's never had one, man. Fucking hell.
Fucking what?
I know.
Man, he's probably never left the state of Washington, has he?
Well, he's never left the state of virginity.
As if-
Let me find him.
Come on, Bueller, stick your email address in the chat room so that Jason can copy and paste it. Don't be a dickhead.
I know I've got it somewhere.
Well, this is making very interesting listening for everybody else.
It is good listening, and
Yeah,
people
yeah.
are going to be really, really interested in this.
Yeah.
I've got his email. He sent me an email sometime. Oh God, fucking fuck, man, he's killing me.
Mm.
Where is he? Oh, just put.
It's right there, lol. That is not a fucking email address, you dickhead.
Who's that? Who said that?
Uni Black Sister, it's right there, lol. It took him more fucking time to type that than it did to type his fucking email address. Just type your email address. And then we can all spam you and send you shit. Oh, God. Well, he obviously don't want to come on, does he?
Well, I think he does because he always wants to come on.
Although I have to say, you know that night when I was up and down to the hospital and I was trying to catch Jess. Apart from because I was on my phone doing the hangout thing and I'd got a headset on and there was a lag, so we kept interrupting each other. I did think he actually had some interesting stuff to say.
Right, I've got it anyway.
You got it?
Yeah, so we can delete it now from the chat room, so that you don't get any weirdos that might want to have sex with him.
Excuse me. Right, let's get him on then.
Oh, fucking hell. This is weird. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, this Hangouts thing's changing apparently, though, isn't it? And
It is weird because, you know, I know this.
Super League just typed Bueller. Has anybody seen Bueller? What I want to know is, what time is it over there? 9:30, 10 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Why aren't you at fucking work?
Because he hasn't got a job, for fuck's sake. He's not got laid. Why would you work if you've never been laid?
I wouldn't need to.
In your 20s.
I wouldn't need to, would I?
Right, I'm gonna email him the link. There we go. See, it's not. It won't let me do it on. It won't let me invite him. It's the same email address.
Weird.
But it won't let me invite him. So I've sent you an email to your Gmail account there, Uni Black Sister Brother. So then. Oh.
So Jason, tell us about this leg then. You've had got your 1 year anniversary. Now your toe's giving you shit.
Yeah. I think it's just going to be a toe that's going to go, but it's not fucking. It's not quite how I anticipated things to be, but what can you do? Here we go. He's there.
There we go. God
Why
damn
can
it.
I only see the top of his head?
Because he's got his camera pointed in a funny way. It's Peter Griffin Jr. There you go. We'll call him Ferris from now on. It's Ferris. Ferris has joined us from Washington in the United America States of things.
That's not Washington, D.C. That's the cold bit up near the northwest.
Can't hear you, mate.
Can't hear you. You must have pressed mute.
You've done something. We can't hear you. Have you got your plug all the way? We could hear you before. Can you go on, say something?
Can you hear me?
We got you now.
Okay, there we go. Well, right now it's actually 2:10 p.m. for me right now, and I typed my Gmail in the chat like 10 times.
Didn't get it, mate. Honestly, I got it once. And then when I tried to invite you, I couldn't invite you, which is why I sent you an email. It wouldn't let me invite you. It's this. What's going on? It's this fucking.
Yeah, it's stupid Hangouts and just Google being stupid. The more they try to improve on technology, the more it's really the more inconvenient they make for us.
But they're doing it on purpose, aren't they? They don't want us people like us to be able to sit and talk and for it to be easy. They don't want that. They want it to be you looking at kittens and fucking people, fucking masturbating on a motorway bridge or something stupid like that. That's what they want you to look at. They don't want you to sit and listen to two pissheads talking on a Friday night.
Yeah, or they'll make you listen to stupid reaction videos of, oh look, the new Star Wars trailer's out. Let me spend, even though the trailer is like a minute long, let me make a 10-minute video where I'm responding to it, just talking a bunch of shit, basically, just for that easy ad revenue, because your videos have to be 10 minutes long to put ads in it.
Well, there you go, and that just shows what sort of society we're living in. A society of fucking just utter fucking nonsense, utter bollocks. You can't understand. You can't take anything as at face value. You just can't. But that also leads to a situation where you're suspicious of other people that claim to have the same beliefs as you do, but they clearly don't. You know, it's just a fucking weird place we're in. It's a
Yep.
weird fucking place
And
we're
they do
in.
it on purpose,
These
divide
heads
and
of
conquer.
ours.
That's what it is.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, but I mean, how are we so? How have we got so far away from reality that this sort of stuff works? How have we got so far away from what we really are to allow this sort of crap to work? And I know it. I understand it, but what I don't understand is, if anyone's got a semblance of fucking compassion in themselves, they won't do any of this fucking crap. But
Oh, that's the people don't have compassion
it's
nowadays.
compassion versus money. You know, compassion versus possessions. And people usually go for possessions. Fucking just a cunt all of the fucking world.
I think it all depends.
Anyway, what's on your mind? Anyway,
I think it all depends on what country you live in and what society that you brought up in. Like, because no one starts off being evil or just being selfish. You know, they have to. It's all about the way that they're brought up, and the way that our school system is set up, and the way that society is built nowadays. It's built to train people to be like this, so that way they pit them against each other. Basically, it's basically they're trying to make it into a dog eat dog world, if that makes any sense. So that they can
of course it makes sense.
So that the deep state can just come on and say, hey, we're the smart ones. We know what you guys should do, so you should listen to us.
But you see, people should know that we're the smart ones because we've all got glasses on. We've all got glasses on, haven't we? So therefore, we're the smart ones. I mean, why?
No, but remember, if you have glasses, that makes you a geek.
People are kept in a childlike state, aren't they? They're kept in a perpetual adolescence, I call it. They get to sort of 13, 14, and then they stick to they go through puberty, and I think that's the way that they get them is at puberty. Sort of puberty age is the optimum time for them to then sort of start sticking these ideas into kids' heads and start to make them. Look, fucking kids, just fucking idiots, man. They're idiots.
And it's not just that as well. It's also the things that they put in the food.
Doing that as well.
Like, it's also the things they put in the food, that they put in the water, the medications that they make you take, the way they teach you in the schools. There's so many factors going into it. It's basically a brainwash mechanism.
Yeah, of course it is. Can you remember this stuff and regurgitate it back to me, and then we'll give you a certificate that says you've remembered all this stuff and you've regurgitated it back successfully. So you've been able to repeat what somebody's told you, and therefore here's a piece of paper that says you can be a doctor, or you can be a a fucking lawyer, or an accountant, or a whatever. It's just a weird system.
What always amazes me about members of the public, when they look at a school, it's like, oh well, Ofsted said it was this, and Ofsted said it was that, and it's close to my house, and they look at all this. And the kids go through 12 years, and at no point does anybody think, hang on a minute, my teachers didn't teach me anything about filling out a CV so I could maybe get a job. Although I think they've started to do that now. But nobody ever said, this is how you fill in a tax return. Nobody said this is the best way to be self-employed or employed or whatever. All they were interested in doing is channeling you down into just becoming an employee. And that is literally all they're teaching you to do. And I sort of think back that what I should have said and what I should have noticed about my kids when they, I mean, my kids are 30 and 33. When they were sort of leaving school, I should have thought, why didn't they teach them about filling a tax return in? Why didn't they teach them about being self-employed? Why didn't they teach them, a bucket full of useful stuff? Because they just don't do
Why
it.
didn't they teach them about bills of exchange?
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. Well, there's a good reason why they didn't teach them about that.
Yeah.
And the also thing is, I think one of the most important things, or one of the things that could actually teach people to open their eyes is, if the same people own the hospital, the people who supply the hospital, the school, the people that supply the school, the food company that made the food that your kids are going to eat in the school lunch, and I'm not talking at like local, I'm talking at, way above national level. I'm talking right up at the top. The same 500 people who are all friends who all work and play together own the top 500 companies, including banks, big pharma, and everything in the world. And then nobody thinks, oh, hang on a minute. Don't you think they might have a meeting once a year and work out how they're going to keep all the prices up and make sure that all the losses come through, not through the banks, but end up with, oh, well, that'd be a good idea if they did that. And I just think, if that one sentence don't get them, 500 people own the top 500 of anything, and they all get together once a year. It's called the Bilderberg meeting. Do you think there's out going on here? And you really can't boil it down any simpler than that. No, but don't worry, my kids will go to school and they get lots of these with different coloured inks on it, because that's all it is. Seriously, when I left school, I wasn't allowed to go to you have a prom in America, don't you? Then we had a school disco. So a DJ would turn up with these wood chip boxes painted black with flashing lights in it and 2 record players. And it was like, I wasn't allowed to go to mine. And the reason I wasn't allowed to go is because I refused to go to school to fetch my certificates. And even then I must have thought, well, these fucking don't mean anything really anyway. The real reason I didn't want to go is because I was DJing in a nightclub that night and I was only 16. But anyway, yeah, so that's, one, they don't teach them anything useful. And 2, mum and dad listen to me about the 500 story, because that's all you need to get in your head to start digging at whatever else is going on.
Yep. I mean, in school, I was one of those good kids, the ones that would sit quietly in class and would listen to the teachers. And whenever I would hear other kids I
wasn't like that. Can you imagine me being like that?
No, but at the same time, it's not because I thought that they were teaching me the right thing. I don't know what the right word for it is, but I always knew, like, before I even learned about any of this stuff, like about the deep state or any of that, I always had this like inkling feeling, even when I was young. I was thinking, none of this stuff, like all of this stuff, just doesn't add up. There's something going on here that doesn't make sense. And I also thought to myself, these teachers don't really know about what they're teaching you, do they? They just are told to memorize what's in this book and regurgitate it to you and make you do the same thing.
Yeah. I do remember we had a woodwork teacher, a metalwork teacher, an art teacher, and I think the other one was a geography teacher, and they were like mates at work. That they went out at night. You could tell there were a really strong bond between these 4 teachers. And I can sort of recall when I was in a class of each one of them, how they dropped a little bit. I think one of them was talking about, oh yeah, don't forget the Americans just practiced on Hiroshima though. to show everybody what they'd got. And comments like that, I can remember. I don't know why I can remember them, but I can remember them. And I wish to God I could go back and say to that teacher, what do you mean? What do you mean? Give me more, give me more. Instead of all this crap you're trying to teach me that's no good to me, you know, what's that? I wish I could go back and do that and see what answer I got from them. How much did they know? You know?
Yeah, I believe there's actually footage of the Hiroshima bomb on YouTube.
Right.
I mean, but of course it's like it's from the airplane. It's like really bad footage because it's like from 1945. And personally, I don't really know much about President Truman as what he did or how he was as a person because I never really looked into him at all. But I know but all I know is he was the person that authorized the dropping of the bomb on Japan. So that's that says a lot right there.
Anyway, look, you wanted to talk about World War II, or was it World War II, or was it Willy Wonka? Could have been Willy Wonka. We never thought of that one.
Yeah, I actually put in the chat. I'm like Webster's Wankfest 2. That's what I put.
Oh no! I'm happy to do that all on my own. I don't need it. Yeah, so come on. What did you want to talk to? What did you want to give us the American view of?
American view. I'm not going to call it the American view because my view isn't exactly the same as most Americans. But then again, I guess none of us have the common view of things.
I mean, I must admit, you don't look as intelligent as you clearly are.
I'm not intelligent. Trust me, I'm really not that intelligent.
Yeah, but it depends on how you measure intelligence. Because being able to regurgitate somebody else's shit is it's just absolutely nothing to do with intelligence. But you've obviously got your eyes open, and compared to me and Jason, I mean, you're half my age. It looks like you're way about the same, but you're half my age. So how come you've got this mindset that you want to come on here tonight and talk about World War II? And you obviously know shitloads of other stuff, banking and food and chemistry. You're switched on. So how come you're with a kid who sat kind of just being quiet? And how come he's the kid who sat in front of me now, having grown up, who's realised what's really going on? But he actually managed to do it, at such a young age compared to when I did. How come?
I would have to say it's because of the internet. Because back when you guys were young,
can I just interrupt, please? I just want to tell you, Taylor, I have tried to be in contact with Francis. What's his face?
What's his face? The guy who made the documentary.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Francis, what's his name? Tell me his
Richard
name.
Connolly.
Who's he talking about?
Francis Richard Connolly.
Yeah, I have sent him a message, but I've not received out back yet since. So
have we?
I
thought we'd had.
Don't exactly know what he's doing. Hey, sorry, go on.
I thought we'd had him on.
We have had him on a couple of times.
Yeah.
And it's just we're going to get him on again and let Taylor have a go at him as well.
Yeah, it's like I need to give him the American perspective.
Do you know it's so true though? Because it's so true that the news that you get in America about the same thing, about the same event that we listen to in England is completely different. Completely different.
Well, I mean, I think it's because mostly here in America, all that the mainstream media can talk about is Trump did this. Trump tweeted this out today. Oh, freaking Robert Miller or whatever his name is. Oh, when will he finally be brought to court? All this bollocks just about nothing. It's like they know that people like us don't give a damn about Trump because we know that he's just another puppet. So they're going to use that to their advantage and just poke fun at the guy. And then everyone else and then people who sympathize with Trump will be like, oh, they're attacking Trump, which means that Trump must be the good guy because the mainstream media is attacking him. So it's basically a ploy, put the guys that we know are in the wrong, put them against the guy who's president, and then, make us think that he's right.
Yeah. yeah, it's like the enemy of your enemy is your friend, or whatever it is. And it's just a case. It doesn't matter what they're doing. They need a bogeyman. But if they can't have a bogeyman, what they'll do is just get you to think that the guy who's where he is crap, so you get rid of him instead. And it's just mish-mosh bollocks.
Yeah.
What about you said the enemy of your enemy is your friend? What about if your enemy is their own worst enemy? Then they're your enemy, and also they're your friend because they're enemy of themselves.
Well, as far as Trump goes, I know Francis Richard Connolly has messaged him, has privately messaged Trump before, asking him, if you really are who you say you are, if you're the good guy, if you're the guy we're supposed to root for, then try to get in contact with one of us, whether it be you, Richie Allen, or him, or Francis, or anybody, prove yourself. But he doesn't do that. He just ignores everything and then constantly spouts stuff about supporting Israel. So
he's going to do that though, isn't he? Let's just face it, he's going to do that, and he's not going to come on Raconteurs News.
Exactly.
He's not going to come on. He's not going to go on Richie Allen. I think he went on Infowars or Prison Planet at one time.
Yeah, well, Alex Jones at the time was his lapdog.
Exactly, but that's what got him elected. You can't. Now, I'm not batting on President Trump's side, right? I'm not. All I'm saying is that these are unreal expectations that we've got of somebody that claims to be draining the swamp or whatever he's going to fucking do. We can't. Just because it don't go on Richie Allen, it don't mean to say that he's bad. Where do we go with this? I mean, on the one hand, he seems to be making the economy in America a lot better. From what I read, anyway, the economy, more jobs, more opportunities for people. He's trying to close down illegal immigration and stop that, which really needs to be stopped because it's illegal. It says it in the word, doesn't it? In the phrase itself, it says illegal immigrants, right? So you're illegal. That's the first thing. The immigrant thing is secondary. The illegal thing is the first thing. So he wants to stop all that. I mean, what do we do? Where do we go? Because it seems that we're led in all different directions. As somebody who has no I've got no affiliation to anybody, right? I ain't got any affiliation to anybody. But what I see happening in front of me seems to me to be orchestrated in the way that I've been watching classic Emmerdale Farm while I've been sat on settee in pain and stuff. You won't know what Emmerdale Farm is, but Taylor. But it's an old soap opera. I've been watching classic stuff like that, and I just don't know whether we should be paying any attention whatsoever to what is going on, because it's just all he said, she said,
Exactly.
bollocks and just crap. I mean, so Trump's not. He can't be blamed. It's just that his role in this is that he's then becomes president. I just don't.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. Trump is not the main enemy. He's just another puppet, just like Obama was. It's like people were sick of George Bush and his policies. So Obama comes in with his campaign of, I'm going to bring peace to the Middle East, or whatever he said. He wins the Nobel Peace Prize because of it. He gets into office. He gets 2 terms, and what does he do? He only makes the war, and he only makes the wars worse. And then Trump comes in and starts bashing on Obama, and it's like, you're basically doing the same thing he did. And it's like, here's the thing with Trump. Until he stops praising Israel, and until he stops, basically sucking Israel's cock, I'm not gonna listen to him. I don't care what else he does. I don't care what he does in the economy. I don't care what he does for anything else. If he until the day he stops sucking Israel's cock, I'm not going to pay any attention to the guy. That's all there is to it.
Well, that's the best way, isn't it? Don't pay any attention to him. We'll be talking about this. You don't pay attention to it. You know, we've got a leadership race in this country for who's going to be the next prime minister. We've got fucking worse than Trump. We've got fucking Boris Johnson, who's just like who's probably going to be next prime minister. And because you've got to remember that a few years ago, they wrote into law the set terms for a general election. So we had our last general election in 2017, I think. So our next general election is going to be 2022. It can be 2022. So we're going to be stuck with Boris Johnson until 2022 because of legislation brought by Tony Blair. And you don't think that these are all working together. Of course they're all working together. Tony Blair brought that legislation in so that it was the set period for Parliament, so it couldn't be broken unless the people that were in power decided that they wanted an election, which they're not fucking going to, are they? And we're going to end up with Boris Johnson. You know, some dickhead fucking... You think Trump is bad? Believe me, Boris Johnson's like Trump on fucking...
He's like Mr. Bean.
Steroids.
Yeah.
He's Mr. Bean.
I mean, in the end, it doesn't really matter who is brought into office, whether it be prime minister, president, whatever the hell. They're all the same. They're all just another puppet just put there. It doesn't matter, like, if it's Hillary, if it's Trump, if it's Putin, if it's freaking, if it's Tony Blair. They're all the same. It doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, left, right, all these nonsense labels. None of it matters because they're all working for the same people. And if they do try to break away from the mold, they're going to end up like JFK.
Yeah. Politics. It only exists between your ears. It really does.
Well,
Because,
I like to claim that as like phony politics, as in the ones that are just meant to just make your head spin for no reason.
well, the only way
Real
getting rid of somebody that you don't like is to vote for somebody that you don't like just a bit less.
Yeah, that's what I call the phony politics, the nonsense that they make you pay.
You see, whatever happens, doesn't matter which president, prime minister, whatever you've got in which country it is, whether it's the US or the United Kingdom. United Kingdom, there's one. We could talk about that for a few days. It doesn't matter. The war in Iraq didn't change. The war in Afghanistan didn't change. The machine kept turning. Didn't matter which president we had. Didn't matter which prime minister we had.
I just wanted to just correct you. It's not the United Kingdom. It's Country McCuntface.
Country McCuntface. So it doesn't matter which team is wearing red and which team's wearing blue that day, and who's living on the top floor and who's living on the bottom floor. It's irrelevant. Because it doesn't matter who you vote for, the government still get in.
Yep, and there is even videos on YouTube proving that the elections are always flawed. I mean, are always frauded. That's not a word.
You see,
are always rigged.
Yeah, because they're rigged. We've got the situation over here. If you believe it, I mean, it's just bullshit. Where we've got a prime minister who basically, if she didn't leave, they'd have kicked her out by having no confidence and all this lot going on. So our prime minister is being forced out by her own party. Okay? So what the party then do is vote for a new leader within themselves and only their membership They then vote for their new leader of their party, and they end up with. So we didn't vote for any of this. None of the British public, unless they happened to be a member of that party as a paid-up member. And whoever the next prime minister is in this country, there's not one person other than a member of that party has been allowed to vote for him. Nobody. The party that we're in, they've got all the strength and they've got all the power. The prime minister just happens to be which one of that. But everybody will say, "Oh well, did you vote for Theresa May?" Well, no, because that's not what you're voting for. You're voting for which colour, and it's just bollocks. It's just complete bollocks. So everybody thinks, does nobody sit down and go, "Hang on a minute, nobody actually voted for this Boris Johnson bloke or whatever the other guy's called"? I mean, to me, it's the first question you ask. Has anybody voted for him that matters? Have we been given the chance? No.
Yep, it's just like with the whole Brexit thing. They give you the vote. Do you want to leave or do you want to stay? Does it really matter which you vote for? Because in the end, it's not going to make a damn difference.
No, it's not. Because they've managed to do absolutely fuck all for 3 years. And people don't think that there's something rigged about that. I just think, wake up. Wake up. Wake up. We've got.
And even in the end, even when this whole Brexit thing is over with, nothing's going to change. Whether you leave, whether the UK leaves or not, it doesn't matter. It's just a big distraction meant to be like, hey, let me focus on Brexit instead of like what's going on in Iran or what the Rothschilds are up to this week.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's always a distraction, kind of like what's that? What was that whole thing? Kind of like the Cuban Missile Crisis, if that's a good comparison.
Yeah, sold a lot of cigars. Anyway, you wanted to talk about World War II.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep getting
Right, so I'm gonna shut up and you're gonna tell us what you wanted to talk about.
Well, basically, I've been watching a guy called Radio Broadcasting Network on YouTube, who basically every day he basically goes back exactly 80 years ago from the present day. So, for example, it would be 80 years ago. Today would be July 5th, 1939. And he basically gets together all the radio broadcasts that were available from that day that are still available. And he puts he live streams it on YouTube.
Wow.
And I like to listen to it every night. I like to listen to it every now and then because they have some interesting stuff, like just listening to either the entertainment programs or the political talk shows or whatever that they had going on back then. And some of it, and then I hear stuff like, the Nazi, but basically, because right now it's up to like July 4th, 1939, and right now they're talking about the Nazis and Italy and all that, and I'm just thinking to myself, damn, even back then these guys were like, hey, Germany's the enemy, Germany's the big bully, we need to take control of the big bully.
Yeah, it's like, but it's only the winners that write the history. Yep,
it's like they don't ever explain how Germany got the power they had, or why they ever went to war to begin with, or the same thing with Japan as well. Why did Pearl Harbor happen? How did it happen? They never explain. All they tell you is, hey, Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, exactly. Most people couldn't tell you where Pearl Harbor is.
Exactly. They're like, Pearl Harbor? I never heard of it. Where is it?
And when we had the Falklands War, I mean, what's that? I don't even
say it again.
When we had the Falklands War,
I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. That's something I do not know.
I can't even remember. It's got to be what, 25, 30 years ago. We all kind of woke up one morning and there's
1982. It were.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
There's this. All the newsy people are saying, Argentina have decided that they want the Falkland Islands back because we fucking stole them.
Malvinas.
You what?
Malvinas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right, Malvinas. But it's called the Falklands War.
It's not. Well, it is called. We. Yeah, but go away. Carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Being politically correct here.
Yeah, yeah. No, he's been quite correct. Not politically, quite correct. And we all this Falklands War's going to happen and we all thought, why have Argentina come up to the north of Scotland? Because most people, and honestly, including a lot of the guys who went and fought in the Falklands War, thought that the Falkland Islands were somewhere up in the north of Scotland. They really did. We didn't even know what this thing was. And then you're waking up in the morning to find that there's a Falklands War. And that all these guys have been deployed out there because the Argentinians decided that no, it was theirs, really. And
which it is.
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, how the fucking hell do we own that?
It's kind of like how, we like to think we own Germany.
Really, really strategic place. And if you really understood the reasons behind it, you'd understand why Britain was so fucking desperate to hang on to it, and that's why. Because I mean, it's fucking Argentina's they own the Malvinas were Argentine until Britain decided they were having them. But I mean, what the fuck have we? What business is ours of what's going on in South Atlantic? It's none of our business. But strategically, that's the reason why, and of course the price of corned beef as well.
It's the same thing with the whole Iraq thing. It's like, even though we blamed Afghanistan for 9/11, we're going to go to Iraq. It's like, what does Iraq have to do with it?
Iraq, and as well, the people that were identified as the 19 hijackers, many of them were from Saudi Arabia. But,
yeah. And apparently they were still alive. Some of them were stitle alive, including the head, Mohammed Atta.
You're making me reminisce about 9/11 stuff. I know more about 9/11 than I really should know, but you're making me reminisce and go back into my mind about that. Yeah,
I think the only thing that we do know about 9/11 for definite, the only one sure thing, is that the story that they told us about was just complete and utter shit.
Well, I think that the reason why we know so much now about 9/11 is because it was such a recent event. I mean, it was like almost 20 years ago, but just think about how much the internet had expanded by then and how much information had been revealed by then. And YouTube only followed like 4 or 5 years later. So it didn't take long for people to just be like, hey, this sounds like a complete bollocks operation. I personally think 9/11 was one of their biggest mistakes. They did not think, hey, maybe this could backfire on us. Which is why they don't want to do another big terrorist attack like that. Since 9/11, we haven't had another planes flying, a giant ship has been bombed and we're going to blame it on, say, Syria, or no planes have flown into buildings and stuff like that. We haven't had anything like that.
But what you've got to remember is, right, on 9/11, they had everything in place. Everything was in place. Okay. Whether you believe there were planes or whether it were explosions, I don't know because I weren't there, so I can't testify to that. But they had everything in place. There were lots and lots of different things in place. Things like if you look on YouTube and put 9/11 Harley guy in, and you'll see that there's somebody there that's an actor who's clearly an actor who says, and this is just after it's when one tower has collapsed and the other still stood up, and he says the tower collapsed due to structural failure. Is
that the one with the CIA agent in the black and that's behind him and standing to the side of him?
Yeah, someone, yeah, but it's all there. They had everything in place, every little thing. Look at the ones, look at the pictures. I've got a fucking, I've got a folder on one of my hard drives of pictures of 9/11, and there's actually one where the one of the towers is like that, and the planes crashed. It's crashed into it, and then the picture has been took as that bit is the top bit is toppling off. It's coming off, and then the arrest goes underneath it, so you can see that clearly. Because if what they're saying is true, then the top would have just fell off, right? Rather than
Yeah, that does not. That defies gravity. Defies the laws of physics.
Yeah,
That doesn't make
the
sense.
top would have just
How does
fell
the
off.
top half go through the bottom half and just completely just go through it like it's made out of freaking nothing,
Yeah, but
made out of
it didn't
cardboard?
even go through it on this photograph. The top half is tilted to the side, so it's like it's falling off. So it's not gonna crush the rest of it. It's falling off. I'll find the picture and I'll post it on Raconteurs News Facebook page. I've got it. I'm telling you, I've got the amount of stuff I did on 9/11. And what you've got to remember is this: is if you're going, if you really want to know about 9/11, now is the time to research that, because there is a reason why these companies, these things like YouTube and Google and all that, they're buying up all these, these Wayback Machines where you can look at a website from back in the 90s or in the early 2000s. And you can look at the web, even though the website's not there anymore, but the Wayback Machine allows you to look at what was available at that time and look at pages. And that's why a lot of those are being bought up by these.
You can do that.
Companies.
You can do that. Like look at old pages from the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. Of course you can. Yeah, I looked at one of my old web pages from 1998. So yeah, I think it's called Wayback Machine. There's a few that do it.
Interesting.
So you can look, but there's a load of 9/11 information in those, particularly the forums that were up at that time. There were so many things that got overlooked and that are really, when you think about it, are really significant. And if you're interested in that, and I'm only saying this as I'm not here saying anyone's going to crack the case and fucking bring people to justice or anything, but I'm just saying if you're interested.
Well, I mean, you can't really do that when the government is the ones responsible. How can the government bring themselves to justice?
Well, they can they? All I'm saying is that if you're interested in that, then that's a really good way to instead of looking on, you might put 9/11 in Google and then you'll get particularly now, you'll get all sorts of shit, won't you? If you're going back on the Wayback Machines and you go to some things like 911movement.org, 9/11, Loose Change 9/11, Pilots for 9/11 Truth, all different facets that have simply been eradicated because they've been dragged into social media and then they've been dissolved, so nobody ever sees them. It's like they drag it in and they dissolve it so that nobody sees anything new. The only way you're going to see that is if you are looking for it and you do a specific search for it. Like I was saying earlier on, I watched the Rich Planet show yesterday, and you would have thought that underneath I watched part one, and you would have thought that underneath and on the suggested videos would be part two, but it weren't there. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to search these things out. Have a look at them. Go to, is it DuckGoGo, is it, that people are using instead of Google? But
I have that.
DuckGoGo still uses Google though, doesn't it? It uses Google for to get its search results. So I don't know how good they are, but yeah,
it's worth a try at least.
Tons and tons absolutely. You could do a degree on 9/11 truth or 9/11 the truth movement or whatever. You could do a degree on it because there's the dancing Israelis. Remember them? You know? Do you know about them? The dancing Israelis.
Yeah, the thing is, I got a lot of information about 9/11 from James Corbett. He made a whole bunch of videos on that. He made one on dancing Israelis, on people like what's her name, Whitman, something Whitman. Of course, Rudy Giuliani. But I cannot speak for some reason. Rudy Giuliani. Dick Cheney, people like them, and I have seen a few others talking about specific other individuals, but I can't remember them off the top of my head because it's been a while. But yeah, I got. I know you don't like James Corbett, but I personally think he's pretty good. Yeah, there's a couple problems I have with him, but
I don't think if you like him, you do. I don't. I just can't get on board with him. That's all. It's not a problem. You know. Listen to everybody. That's what I said.
yeah, except for not Richie Allen, except for Alex Jones. Fuck him off.
No, well, yeah.
All you got to look at is
After he gave in to Trump's money machine.
Yeah, who pays his bills?
Exactly. Well, I mean, nowadays he probably doesn't because they threw him away because he failed.
Mm. Just to sort of put this back on its feet, how do you think 9/11 will be taught in schools 60 years from now, or say 80 years from now?
Oh, hold on a second. I actually got to use the restroom. Sorry.
Yeah,
back, okay?
Don't trust
Well,
a fart.
sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, but unfortunately Taylor needs to go for a shit. He'll be back soon. In answer to your question, Ada, I don't think it will be. I think
No.
I think the official narrative will be taught that it was but it'll be very vague, and it'll be very, crappy. And they'll use the excuse that they don't want to.
Traumatize everybody.
Traumatize people and bring back these memories and things like that. I don't think it'd be taught, and it certainly won't be taught in any way that we'd hope it would be taught in.
No, of course it won't. And I particularly picked 80 years because I thought it was 20 years. So 80 years from now, there's not going to be anybody alive who would remember it or got any chance of remembering it. You just think to yourself, how would it be reported? And if you can look back in history on everything then and say, well, okay, we know that 9/11 didn't happen, now they say, and because of who and how, it just didn't happen like that. It's impossible. So we don't know what did happen and why it happened. You can speculate as much as you like. So if he's like, go back, I don't know, pick anything in the past 500 years that we were told at school, chances are the people who were there wouldn't tell you the same story as to what's written in the history books. And 9/11 proves that, if what we're saying is right. Because
well, of course not. The thing is with history, right, and it's the same in every country. Yeah, in Germany, I suppose there'll be books about the war times, and there'll be books about heroes, German heroes that were, in World War II. Although they lost the war, there'll still be books, and there'll still be films afterwards that portray them as heroes. But we've got the same here. It's the same here. It's the same wherever you are. You're telling the people what they want to hear. You're not telling them what they need to hear, because they don't want that. People don't want to know what they need to hear.
No, they want to feel safe.
They want you to tell them what they want to hear. And if you don't fucking tell them what they want to hear, then they'll boo you, they'll fucking hiss you, they'll call you all fucking names under the sun. But unfortunately, we are. This is where I'm saying we have to get to a point where we get out of this perpetual adolescence that we're taught like through all your years, right? First of all, you get sort of 0 to 3, 0 to 4, and you've got an authoritative figure, and that is your parents, right?
Yeah.
Then you go to school, and then the authoritative figure is the teacher, and then above that, there's a head teacher. In fact, there's probably a deputy head teacher, and then there's a head teacher. So we're building up these layers of authority. So when you're up to 4 years old, when you're 4 years old, there's only one level of authority, and you're gonna push it to the limits, which kids do, don't they? Up to 4 years old, they do. They push things to the limit, right?
Yeah.
And then when you get into school, then you've got another 2 layers on top of that. So then you start thinking, well, hang on, I might be able to get away with this, but if I get, it's sort of like an offset of how I will be treated if this is found out. Do I think that it will go through all 3 layers? And I'm going to be, it's authority beating down on you.
Yeah, and you're taught from a very young age, you are very small, and in order for you to get to the top, you've got lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of things to get through, lots of layers, and it's to remind you, instill in you from a tiny age, you are that big, you mean nothing, and everybody above you is better than you. Right from that age, that's what they teach you.
Yeah, of course they do. Yeah, of course they do. It's fucking ridiculous. I don't know how many times I've said ridiculous on this fucking show in my life, but it must be a ridiculous amount of fucking times.
Mm.
But it's like then you get into higher education, and there's more schools, and there's more authority, and there's more. And it just increases, the authority increases till you get to.
So if you didn't learn anything in 12 years, you can spend the next 5 years paying to be not taught much. Yeah. And really, there's only sort of, I don't know, English, maths, physics, and a couple of others. All the other degrees are just bollocks degrees. They're just... you'll get somebody who's got a degree in French literature, and they'll end up being, I don't know, one of the top recipe guys at Cadbury's chocolate or something. And it bears no resemblance to what fucking French literature. But because they've got a degree, oh well, he must be a clever bloke. The fact the degree is in fucking nothing to do with what the job is don't make any difference.
Sorry about that.
Yes, you had to. What was it? Don't trust a fart.
I believe did Super Leads coin that, or was it New Being?
Yeah,
it was Super Leads, I think that were.
Mm. So anyway, what were you saying before you disappeared?
Well, I believe you asked how I feel about teach 9/11 60, 80 years from now. Well, personally, I think that this whole deep state thing will be over by then. That's how I personally feel. I feel like the whole truth of 9/11 will be revealed to the public long before then. Because the way that things are going with them, with like the Rothschilds and all them, they're reaching pretty much the end of their ropes. With how desperate that they are,
they won't ever come clean about what happened on 9/11. They won't. Simple as that. No matter what they'll go to even if they were in trials, humanitarian trials, fucking UN or whatever, they will never admit. We will never get the truth. You have to get your own truth. You have to look at what evidence you can see and decide for yourself, because inevitably they will never. Look at JFK. How many years has it been? 50 odd years. what is it, 57 years this year it'll be since he's been killed. And it's
50,
quite
56.
obvious to anybody that he was assassinated, right? He was assassinated not by Lee Harvey Oswald, but by other entities. But nobody's ever going to say that. So 9/11, why would we think that they're going to suddenly go, oh, I've some sort of conscience and own up to 9/11, just so that they're not going to do that. These fuckers that are in this power, they'll fight until they're fucking chopped down. Until they are actually physically chopped down, they will do that. They will lie their fucking arses off. They will do whatever they can. It will, it won't be 9/11 as the truth. I mean, what is the truth? What we're going to teach? Okay, what is it? It weren't Arab terrorists that hijacked planes and crashed them into World Trade Center. World Trade Center crashed because of the fires. Oh, no, that was World Trade Center 7, weren't it? And then World Trade Center 7, which didn't have any fires in it, which were a 46-story building. It didn't have a plane didn't crash into it, but it had fires in it apparently, and that caused it to collapse. The only time in history that buildings have collapsed due to fire, and that was the 3 times in history that it's happened is on 9/11, and the 3 of them were all at the same address, really. That's not going to be happening, is it? It's going to say, it's like heroic. It's like a Bible story. Whoever the hero is in the Bible story, their story, the way that they want it to be portrayed is the way that it's going to be portrayed. The victor is always going to be the person who makes up the narrative, who makes the narrative what it is. So we're never going to know the absolute truth about 9/11. The only thing we can be certain of is the official narrative is a fucking cunt load of bollocks.
I know what you're saying, but
are you stuffing your face?
Am I what?
What?
Not you, AD. Bumler. Are you stuffing your face? What are you eating?
Sorry, I haven't eaten yet, and I'm just having I'm hungry, so.
What are you eating? Are you eating some Cheez-Its?
Cheetos.
Ah, there you go. I knew it was cheese-based. I could
'Cause
tell
I'm a
that.
fat bastard.
Hey, join the club. AD's a fat bastard as well. He's a proud member of the Fat Bastard Club, aren't you, Wade?
No.
Peter Griffin runs that club. Well, actually, technically, didn't Homer make it first? Homer Simpson?
I don't know. AD, why are you hiding, mate? What's up with you?
Why? Because I'm eating.
Are you eating, really? What are you eating?
I've just had a yogurt.
Oh, fucking hell, yogurt. See, here we go. There's the cultural difference between Britain and the United States. We've got a fat bastard in Britain and we've got a fat bastard in the United States. The fat bastard in the United States is eating cheese crisps and the fat bastard in Britain is eating a yogurt. So,
no, he was eating hydrogenated fat that was also cooked with maize, which is what they feed pigs on. That's got a load of E numbers to flavour it. That's what he was eating.
Okay.
And I was eating some yogurt.
Well, but keep in mind, if there's any kids watching, they'll be like, "Oh, you're eating yogurt. That's gross." Basically, they're trying to say, "Oh, it's semen."
Yeah, but they'd be going
man.
Fucking McDougal burgers in the morning, wouldn't they?
Oh, they are dog shit, aren't they?
Just
McDonald's, though.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Go on.
Also, about World War II, because I kind of got off track. I also wanted to mention the invasion of Poland. I've been interested to learn exactly how that really happened, because I haven't been able to look into that one personally.
Well, the invasion of Poland was just a pretext to go to war. Now, what happened was the Treaty of Versailles. When the implementing of the Treaty of Versailles, the Germany was to give up a certain amount of land to Poland, neighbouring Poland, and which they did, obviously, because they had no fucking choice, really.
Exactly.
And then the German people that were in that region, that lived in that region, started getting attacked by Poles. And started getting murdered in the village. And Adolf Hitler then decided that no, we're not going to do that. You're not going to do that, and we're going to go in and do something about it. And that was the invasion of Poland, which wasn't actually Poland. It was actually a part of Germany originally, but that had been given to Poland under the Treaty of Versailles. So,
Yep, which was signed by Alan Dulles, by the way, the same guy who ran the JFK Commission, the Warren Commission.
Yeah, and the airport in Washington is named after, isn't it?
Oh, Dulles Airport? It's named after him?
It's named after. Of course it is. Fucking hell, why do they call it Dulles? What's the matter with you? I know more about your country than you do, and you live there.
I told you I wasn't that smart. I'm sorry.
You dealing me.
I was always wondering why they called it Dulles Airport. Now I know.
Now it was named after Alan Dulles. Yeah. Like you say.
Why the fuck would they name an airport after that bastard?
Because that's what they do for bastards, isn't it?
True. I mean, they did the same thing for Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. Well, I don't know about Ronald Reagan, actually. I'm a bit on the fence with Ronald Reagan. I think he was a bit of a muppet. But then again, my political insight from that era came from Spitting Image.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Spitting Image?
Yeah, it's it was a British TV program that satirised political things, really, mostly, weren't it? A lot of political things, and Spitting Image. Just have a look at it. Do a Google search, Spitting Image. You might not get it, but it did. But the thing was, I think the funniest thing for me was, and this is how my fucking brain works. I don't know how I remember this, but I think at the time, Ronald Reagan hired a spokesman who was called Larry Speaks.
Larry Speaks. What a name.
That was his name, yeah, Larry Speaks. And then, so what they did is, Spitting Image did this like satirical sketch with him in it, and he was calling everyone Larry. The doorman was called Larry Opens Doors, and there were Larry Lifts and that, but all because the political spokesman for Ronald Reagan was a guy called Larry Speaks. So I mean, fuck's sake, what else? What other jobs are going to have?
Yeah, well, as my knowledge of Reagan personally is limited to only a couple things, because I kind of like Harry Truman. I never really bothered to look into him very much. All I really know about him is that Bush Senior tried to have him assassinated so he could get into the White House, so he could get to be president sooner, and also that he was an actor before he became president, and that he freaking wanted to apparently build a Death Star after Return of the Jedi came out. He wanted to make his own Death Star to combat the Soviet Union. It was called the Star Wars Project. Like, it was literally called the Star Wars Project.
Yeah, it weren't quite a Death Star. I think you might have been.
No, that's what he said. That's what he said live. He literally said that he wanted to make a Death Star.
Well, I don't believe that. Sorry, Taylor.
You should look for the Spitting Image stuff. It was basically rubber handheld puppets, and there was Chris Barry and John Culshaw who did 90% of the voices on it, I think. There was one guy he did Margaret Thatcher and I think one other voice, but it was literally 2 or 3 writers, a load of puppeteers, and about 3 people doing the voices. But a lot of the time they were so close to the edge of being incredibly inappropriate and taken off.
So like insulting America.
Definitely.
He insulted everybody.
Yeah. And basically, every politician was an idiot. If anybody got a weak spot, they'd find it.
Well, just give me. There were one particular sketch that I seen recently. It was Margaret Thatcher. I don't know if you heard of Margaret Thatcher, but she was prime minister in this country in the 80s.
I think I've heard of her.
There was a sketch where she was at a restaurant with the entire cabinet, and the waiter comes up and says, "What would you have?" And she said, "I'll have the steak." And she says, and then the waiter says, "And what about the vegetables?" And she says, "Well, they'll have the same as me." Come on, for fuck's sake, you should be laughing at that. At least you ain't it.
Sorry, it's.
I've watched them all, mate, and listened to them all. I've heard them all before.
Sorry, I'm kind of slow on jokes. Like sometimes it takes me a while to get it. It's like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, listen, I didn't expect you to get it, Ferris. I were expecting Ada to get it and giggle. But,
from the first sentence. Yeah.
By the way, I wanted to ask, what do you think about JFK Jr.?
Well, it's pointless asking me a question about politics because I don't believe in any of it. But
he's dead, Ada.
Oh, is he? I don't know.
The guy that died in a plane crash in 1999?
I think he's dead. That's what I think of him.
Well, there are actually people who think that he's actually still alive.
Yeah, there's people that think everyone's still alive, isn't there? Name somebody that's dead. You'll find. I'm sure there's somebody that thinks John McCrook's still alive somewhere.
They did the same thing with Tupac, Biggie Smalls, Elvis, even JFK. Like some people say, "Oh, JFK faked his own death." I'm like,
JFK, get on, man! For fuck's sake, listen. Have a little bit of I know you're into all this, and I know you get on, and I've been on it myself. But just think to yourself, really, is JFK still alive? I mean, come on.
No. I'm just saying that's what some people think.
But some people think that fucking the woman when they've got a cock.
Well, some women do if they go through plastic surgery. They have technology for that nowadays. You can give women cocks. I mean.
No, but I'm just saying that there are blokes that think they're a woman, but they've got a cock, right?
Yeah, that's true. But then again, can you really blame them with the way society's made nowadays? It's basically bred to teach people that, like, somebody I talked to who actually lives in Birmingham in the UK said that his 5-year-old kid in school was actually being taught about homosexuals and about personal sexuality at 6 years old. By his teachers at school.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Again, I've said that word again. Ridiculous.
I mean, it is ridiculous. That's what it is. Oh, man. So, if Hitler had won, what do you think the world would be like?
We're never going to win.
Do you know what I think? I'll tell you what I think.
Go on, Ada.
It's an irrelevant question because Germany were never going to win. It wasn't supposed to work that way. It was supposed to work exactly how it did because it was all pre-planned. Moving a line on a map and then declaring that you're going to walk into what used to be your field in order to start a bit of a war. Yeah. And people don't think there's anything strange about that. You know, and the fact that all they
Yeah.
wanted to do was absolutely bankrupt the world so that the Rothschild can just own everything. And that's the reason why they did it. All they want is
Yep.
for the banks to, well, the top people who own the banks, for, you know, yes, of course, we'll print you the money, Mr. President. We promise we'll print you as much money as you need. We'll guarantee absolutely fuck all about its worth. But yes, Mr. President, don't worry. We'll keep printing you money because we know that you're going to pay it back.
Are you
You know,
referring to President Roosevelt?
I'm referring to every single president and every prime minister that both of our countries have ever had, because that's what they do. They've got the power to print money debt free, but they choose not to. They choose to allow the Rothschilds and their cronies to do it for them and then charge them for the money, charge them money for the privilege of printing something they could have printed in themselves. And that's why.
Do you think this all started with the Federal Reserve, or even before that?
It's before the Fed. I mean, even the decision to make the Fed, it took them 8 years to work out how they were going to convince Congress to let them do it, because it was based on the English system that had already been in place. I think it was 3 years when they had the meeting on Jekyll Island. You should read the.
Jekyll Island.
You should read the Creature from Jekyll Island. Even the first two. In fact, you can actually go on YouTube and listen to the first chapter of The Creature from Jekyll Island. It'll take you about 24, 25 hours to read the whole book. And it just literally goes through exactly how money works, but just in a way that if you know there's something wrong, even if you don't understand fractional reserve lending, by the end of the book, you definitely would. Definitely. Even if you actually thought that money had a real worth. So it really is worth investing a day of your life in that book. It will teach you a mountain. And once you realize that the two wars were just, well, not only those two, all the bloody wars since and before, are just there to keep this money thing going round and round and round. You know, I mean, there's got to be a bogeyman. Otherwise, the American people wouldn't agree to spend billions and trillions of dollars on something they didn't believe in. So they've got to keep the bogeyman going. And that's all World War I and World War II was. You know, but then people used to crowd around a single radio in the living room so that they could work out. And again, it was just all government propaganda. And these guys couldn't wait to be 18. They were lying about their age to go and fight for their country. So very brave men did an incredibly brave thing, but sadly, they all did it for a reason that didn't exist. It was bullshit that they were fed.
They were brave but foolish. Brave, naive.
But it's not their fault because it had never happened in history. So once we then learn about the monetary system and put two and two together and actually work out that, well, Huxley was wrong. 2 and 2 really does make 4, not 5. Sorry, there was a reference to another book in there. Another one you should read. And when you actually tie it all up and realize that Hitler would never have won because he wasn't supposed to, you know.
Well, yeah, he was Rockefeller, Bush, and Rothschild funded from the start.
Well, I mean, the Bush family funded him. What more do you say?
And the German Nazi war machine, they funded the whole thing because they just they basically wanted. Wasn't it also to help them fight communism?
Well, it's quite simple. Let's talk about the soccer league, or football league as we'd call it. If you own one club, let's imagine you own Liverpool. You care whether Liverpool win or not on Saturday. If you own the whole league, doesn't matter who wins because you still win. In other words, if you're the bookmaker, you win. And that's what it's like with these guys because they were funding both sides. They were funding both sides and telling each one that the other one was the bogeyman. I mean, let's imagine going back to, God, when Englishmen used to fire cannons across a field at somebody else from another country or whatever, the proper old soldier's way of fighting a battle. If you walked into the middle of a battle and went, whoa, whoa, excuse me, guys, and it all went quiet, and they all put the guns and the swords and the bows and arrows or whatever it was down there, yeah? I'm just not sure, guys. Can you tell me who's the good guys and are you the bad guys, or are you the good guys and are you the bad guys? And both teams would say that they were the good guys. No, not one nor the other would say, do you know what, guys? We haven't really we've been bad, really. You know, let's just forget this. It wouldn't happen.
Isn't that exactly what happened is also with the Korea War with North and South Korea when they were forced to split up?
There you go. And all it is, it's a politician drawing a line on a map and deciding which bit's his and which bit can somebody else fight him for.
Yeah, the boogeyman. We need a boogeyman, otherwise the American people won't continue to throw billions and billions of dollars, and and even more importantly, their rights away to these freaking Rothschild puppets.
Well, I think that's, you know, what you just said there. I think that's why all this UFO stuff is now coming to the fore, because the one big bogeyman they've got to sell next is, well, you know, we need a space station with a laser-guided rocket cannon thingy on it that's floating around in space. We need at least 20 of those because we think that we're going to be invaded by an imaginary bogeyman. And that's the next big thing they're going to get sold. I mean, the big one they're doing at the minute is obviously the climate change and all that shite. That everywhere you look over here is just full of it. Every chance they get to mention climate change, carbon dioxide, climate change, any story they could say, oh, this cat died, but we don't think it was because of climate change. Any excuse to just say the words to get it impregnated into your brain. But I think the next big one they're going to sell, so that they can keep funding this war machine, is the space one. Yeah,
the space battles. It's going to turn into Star Wars eventually. We're going to go into space with the TIE fighters, and we're going to go freaking blow up Death Stars and shit.
Well, because now, you know, they can just do anything they want CGI, and you wouldn't even know it was CGI.
Exactly. They could kill Trump right now, and they could easily fake his appearance on TV.
Of course they can.
They have the technology for that.
Yeah.
And then on heck, they could even say, like, I bet that if the mainstream media came out and said Hitler is still alive, somehow he escaped death and he's still alive, living today, and they came up with these random pictures, and I bet a lot of people would actually believe it.
Yeah,
just because, you know, CNN or BBC or whatever said it.
He did live a long time in Argentina. After the war, he lived a long time. There's even a town in Argentina that is built like a German town because all the Nazis went there after the war, and so did Hitler. He was there for a long time down in Argentina.
Oh, he didn't die in his bunker or anything like that?
He didn't. For fuck's sake. What's the best thing? What's the best bit of propaganda that the British could do? He killed himself. He was such a coward. He killed himself rather than face everything. Bollocks. He lived in Argentina for fucking years afterwards. Alone did. Just do your fucking... Just do a few searches and have a look. Even in this day of censorship, it should still be about. I mean, there's even pictures of him in Argentina. He lived in Argentina. They all went to Argentina. In fact, a lot of them were allowed to go to Argentina because they knew stuff. Like a lot of the genocides that were blamed on the Nazis were actually carried out by Stalin and his crew who were on our side, Russians. And if you think I'm anti-Russian, then you don't know fuck all about because
Yeah, I'm not gonna say you're anti-Russian.
well, I fucking speak Russian, so I'm
Oh, you
not
do?
anti-Russian. Sorry?
You do speak Russian?
Yeah, of course, yeah. A little
I
bit.
can only speak English.
Dolky немного.
What does that? What does that mean? I
That
don't
means
know what that
only a
means.
little. It means only a little.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know fuck all about the other languages. All I know is.
Can I just take you to task on something? You said you only speak English. No, you fucking don't. You call it Iraq. You can't decide the difference between football and football. I mean, you don't speak English.
The fake English. Maybe that's the right word for it.
Mm.
Fake English. Should we call it fake
Yeah.
English?
I tell you what, I've always been. I need to ask somebody from the States this question. What the fuck is a mirror?
A what?
A mirror.
Mirror. Oh, you mean the thing where you look, you see your reflection in?
Exactly. It's called a mirror. A mirror. It's not a mirror. And you know that spangly stuff that women wear around the neck? What's the collective term for that?
The things that women wear around their neck?
Yeah, and gold and silver and rings and
Necklace?
yep. What's the collective name for it all?
Necklaces?
Jewelry,
No,
I think he's talking about.
Jewelry. Sorry, I'm brain farting right now.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. It's not called jewelry, it's jewelry. You see?
Hmm.
It's actually jewelry.
I'll tell you the other one that bugs me at the moment. Somehow, footballers have become footballers.
What? Okay, that one I've never heard. That one I've never heard of.
Started it, but whenever you hear in the mainstream media them talking about somebody who plays football, they were always called footballers, and now they're called footballers. And
What?
all of the sports guys have all started to use change the word to footballer instead of footballer.
I wonder who coined that phrase.
Don't know.
Footballer.
Somebody who doesn't like vowels.
I mean, but then again, the entire English language, wasn't it stolen from another language to begin with?
Oh, no, he knows it was stolen from everybody. We fucking steal everything.
Yep. That's what the US and the UK do. They steal from everybody else.
Look, actually, you're an offshoot of us, so just not calm down a bit.
Oh yeah, you're right. Because George Washington and them were from Europe, and they left and they formed the US and all that.
Hey, they were the original anarchists.
Yep.
The founding fathers were the original anarchists. They basically walked up that hill and said, "You are no longer the boss of me."
Well, I wouldn't call them anarchists because they still had the whole financial system, and I wouldn't call that anarchy if you have like a ruling system of a president and banks and all that. I don't know.
Well, they basically it was the English king they were sticking their fingers up to, wasn't it?
Mm.
And as I've said before, that whole thing about telling our king that he could piss off and we don't work for you anymore was all over. It's certainly less than 5% in taxation. And now look, how much do you guys pay in tax? 40%, 45%?
Something like that. I would say, I think like 50% almost.
Yeah, and then every item that you buy, that's taxed to VAT and.
I mean, nowadays even digital items are taxed.
You want, mate?
In this country, 71% of anyone's income goes in tax.
Yeah.
It's just a big giant scam. It's like, why even go to work? See, this is why I refuse. This is why I've been refusing to get a job for so long. Well, one of the reasons, because it's like, what's the point? What am I getting out of it? I'm gonna work my ass off just to get some money, just to go, just for it all to be brought back in tax and brought back into the system. It's like, it's just continuing the cycle, like keeping the cycle going. Like, what's the point? I don't get it.
Yeah, but that's because you've got parents that you can live with.
Yes, that is very true.
See, if you had to provide the only way of keeping dry was to provide a roof for your own head, you'd think differently.
Why don't you, Taylor? Why don't you go and find one of your parents and get them to say hello to us over here in England? I'm sure they'd be pleased about that. Go find one and go say, "Hey, mom or dad or whatever, wave to these people in England. They are so."
What he's thinking at the minute is there's no
where they are.
Introduce my parents to either one of you guys.
My parents would just tell me to fuck off, most likely.
Oh man, they don't sound good. Don't sound good. Anyway, listen, I was thinking you were talking about football earlier on, and then I know that I gave women's football a bit of a beating or a bit of a kicking the other night, a kicking one-legged man in the fucking arse kicking contest. But yeah, I think I gave women's football a bit of a raw deal, and I didn't mean to, because I choose not to watch it. It still has a value to people that do want to watch it, and people that think there were people that went over to that. So what I tried.
Women's football.
Just let me. I tried to quantify a way in which I could like women's football, and I could say that I like women's football, and this is what I came up with, right? I like football, right? I like football. I'm a football mad, right? I watch Sheffield Wednesday. I've got a subscription. I'm Argentina. Yada yada yada. So I'm a huge football fan. So I'm a fan of football, but women's football, as far as I'm concerned, is a joke. So I'm a fan of football. I like football and I like jokes. So there you go. I like women's football.
Yeah.
I think that'll appease all the feminists that were giving some grief over that.
So what you're saying is you were quite justified to say that women's football was shit because it is.
Well, listen, I just don't want to watch it. I don't know whether it's shit or not because I've not watched it.
Okay, let's put it this way: women's football. It's not Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Let's go with that. Basically,
Okay.
Women's football. It's not bad. You just don't like to watch it. Star Wars: The Last Jedi. It's fucking shit, and anyone who does like it is a dumbass. We'll put it like that.
What can you say? Anyway, listen, guys, I need to.
Hang on a minute, AD. What did he just say then? I didn't get any of that. I didn't get at all. I didn't understand any of the references.
Well, the reference was that the Star Wars film was the worst one they've ever made. It was complete dog shit. The animation was shite. The film was rushed through, and it was just a way of linking the story together in some really fucking horrible, thin, flimsy way.
And it was a feminist propaganda. Yeah, with shit actors. I don't know about that. I mean, the actors weren't terrible. It's just that I don't mind the actors. It's just that it's just the actual people telling them what to do. It's like you can have a great actor, but if they have a terrible director, you're not going to get anywhere. I mean, the prequel films pretty much prove that. It's like when you can make Samuel L. Jackson look cringy on screen, you know that you're a bad director.
Okay, I think there's far more information that I need. I take it you're knackered, Aid. I'm knackered, and I'm sure you have got a lot of things to. I'm sure you've got a load of wanks to have this afternoon, Taylor. We don't want to intrude on that, of course.
No, that's Super League's job, not mine. That's his job. He has to find me a blowjob, mate. He has to find me one. He promised me he would.
He could be that man.
I'll tell you what. You know what we should do? We should start up a GoFundMe thing, just to get you a plane ticket so you can come over here and sit here in this room with me and have a chat online. That would be just awesome.
I thought you were going to say we could have a GoFundMe page to get him a blowjob or a shag, and we could call it "Go Fuck Me" on GoFundMe.
Well, we did do that before, Edith. While you were away, we did raise that option, but unfortunately, nobody wanted to help Taylor to get his knob sucked. So,
Super Leeds, you've let me down.
We had to put it on ice.
You see, what I have to say though,
but anyway,
listen. If I'd got a hat on, I'd take it off because I don't think I could sit there and tell anybody if I was still a virgin. So, congratulations for even having the balls to confess.
I mean, I don't care. I mean, I don't care what other people think of me. I'm just like, you know, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. If someone wants to throw a hissy fit and be like, I'm just like, what do you want me to do?
Well, you're good, man. You've got full respect from over here in Yorkshire.
Yep.
So you know, and we'll have you back on. You have one or two good ideas. Listen, I've had a fucking right drink. I've had a couple of joints, and now I'm going to go.
I'm sorry. I know I spout a lot of nonsense, but I try my best not to sound like a complete idiot.
No, you don't. You definitely don't.
Cheers, lady.
Yeah.
Cheers,
good night, gentlemen.
And we will see you very, very soon, everybody. Thanks for listening to us tonight. Go on. What? Fucking one more thing. Oh, just one more thing.
Yeah,
fucking Columbo.
You mentioned earlier about the whole farting, and you know, she had to you hang your underwear up on the in the stall or the cubicle or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, that is nothing compared to another person online who is notorious for constantly shitting in his own underwear and putting it in his and not only that, he eats it and he releases semen into a cup and he drinks it live on YouTube camera. By the way, this is all live.
What? Why are you watching this guy, Taylor?
I'm not watching it. I'm not watching it. That's why I said he's notorious.
What is wrong with you? How do you even know this exists? This bloke, he likes to shit in his pants and rub it all over his face and he eats it.
His name is Christian.
You know, I think I'm going to delete this show. I'm going to have to, I think, because, you know, we've got you on here and you've seriously got some fucking... What were you searching to find this guy?
Okay, hold on. Let me explain. Basically, he used to be part of the Sonic community. You know what Sonic is, right?
No.
It's a video game. It's a video game franchise, and he was contracted. I believe he was talked to by the guys who made it. He made he was making he's popular basically in the community, but he became notorious for the things I mentioned. And because I used to play Sonic games a while ago, I don't anymore, but back in the day I did, and he became notorious in the community. And I heard about it, and I was just thinking to myself, what the fuck? And I pretty much just left it at that. It's just
well, I've got to say I'm going to inform the authorities in your very soon, and hopefully they will pick you up and be able to. I mean, that's just some fucking unreal shit, man. Honestly,
I could send you the link to this person's channel.
Please don't.
He lives in Virginia.
Please don't.
I'm
not bothered. I don't want to eat. I don't want to see someone eating their own shit and then coming in a fucking bucket or whatever. Look,
and the thing is, he used to get tons and tons of views as well. That's what I don't understand.
An 80s holding a sock up.
It's not a sock, it's a willy warmer.
Oh, is it? Oh, it's a fucking willy. It was the same thing, isn't it?
It's not a sock, it's a willy warmer.
It'll keep your fucking foot warm as well, won't it?
Yeah, well.
Oh, dear me.
Some of my problems are not the same as yours.
Well, this has been real, guys. Thanks for having a laugh with us, and thanks to everyone in the chat room. You've all been brilliant. Super Leads, Catching Fire, New Being, Chrissy, yeah, and all those people in there as well. We'll be back when I don't know what's going on. I've got an appointment on Monday, an urgent appointment, so I don't know whether I'll be stopping in hospital on that night, but we'll do something and just look out for us. We're not bothered about having fucking millions of views. All we're bothered about is just having a laugh, aren't we? And having a laugh and putting our own point of view across. And it works on a lot of occasions. So cheers, Eddie. All right, mate. Last word from you.
Yeah, just stay happy.
Don't worry, stay happy. What about you, Taylor Buemler? Don't make it a question. Just make it a just like a statement.
Well, some people say we're just a bunch of old men living in the basement, just talking on YouTube. That's what some people. I remember I told you about that. Like I told the guy, watch this guy and watch this show, and they said, hey, these guys just look like a bunch of has-beens living in their mom's basement. I'm just like, just fucking hell, man. Ugh.
Awesome. Listen, this is not basement. I'm in fucking dining room here. So thanks to everybody. We'll see you very, very soon. And remember, be good to each other and look after your legs.
Yes,
really
legs are very important.
And
your arms.